I'm bringing her in. There you go. Yay.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the one, the only, the amazing Christmas hugs to Julie Winge.
Oh, yes. Hello, everybody. Just for fun with. Very nice.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Julia, that was a cool painting.
Huh?
That was
that's my husband's doing.
Ah, it was really cool.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Tell him.
I'm excited. Hit me.
You should be, because this is going to be crazy.
So, first of all, hi, Julia. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
I wrote to Julie earlier today and asked her if she wanted to like have some info about us. She was just answering me like you guys do, Brendan and Guy, like, oh, doesn't matter. Just I take it as we go. And this was really cool. So first of all, yeah, we have talked a little bit, and then we have Brendan and Guy, who's they can wave. So we do like cool webinars almost every Thursday, but today is Monday just because it's you with some amazing people. And one friend of mine actually said, you have to bring Julia, she's so fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, friend.
Yeah, he's just a follower, so I was just thinking, yes, let's hit her, because you do a lot of cool things.
Yes, just hit me with anything and we'll talk about it.
Cool. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself then, for people who don't know why I asked you?
Okay, but let's see. I don't know why you asked me, so I'm going to guess. Let's say I'm an alcoholic, a raving, mad alcoholic. I've been sober for 7 years, and I treat people online. So I have, now I have 300 members going sober. I've treated about 400. I used to be an actress, but that's no fun. It's much more fun to do this. So that's the short story, really.
I saw an intro video that Cathrine shared with us earlier. You were giving a presentation, and that was quite fun.
What was that about?
You have some videos on your YouTube, like some few videos on your YouTube.
Yes.
So I just shared one with him. It says something like your first drink or something.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Do you remember it?
My first drink?
No, yeah, the presentation.
If I remember the video?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite old. I did some lectures and they made those videos. Yes.
Now, Julia, I have a couple of questions that pops into my mind, and I don't like them to stay in my mind for too long, so it's going to come to you instead. First of all, how unsober were you when you were like an active, practicing alcoholic?
Very, very unsober, indeed.
Like really shit drunk all the time, or?
I'm an extrovert as a person, and that, you know, mirrors how you are when you drink. Really, your personality gets, you know, heightened a bit.
Okay.
I've had some naked rolls down the garden in the middle of the night. Very sad that the nights in Norway they're not dark. Poor, very poor neighbors. So I'm fun when I'm drunk, and I'm depressed when I'm drunk, and I'm horrible to anybody that's close to me. I'm a monster. But I'm also the most important thing to get across, because when I speak like this, when I can tell you that I'm a monster, it's because I've done the work, you know. I've worked with my consequences. I know my stories. I know what happens some people say, if I ask them, okay, what happens if you take a drink today? They'll say, I'll feel horrible tomorrow. Okay, but that's no reason not to drink, is it? Because we know that. What happens in drink number 8? Where are you picking up the phone? Are you fighting somebody? You know, to get sober is quite a specific job to do. So that's why I can talk like that, because I know my stories. I know.
So basically, you go down into details. That is a clue to actually get somebody sober. You have to actually build down to, yeah.
Yeah, and then some.
And then some, yeah, okay. Now that was my first question. The second question is, you say you have 300 people going sober, right?
Yeah.
Now, what is the, do you have any idea what the percentage is of if they didn't stay sober, if they kept on drinking, like whatever, how much they do, how many of them would have been dead now? Do you know?
Alcoholism is slow. It's chronic. And, you know, there is no percentage because it's the physical consequences are individual. So some people, they live till they're 90. And like, one person I know very, very well, he had to get a new liver. And that was when he was 43. So there already, you can't really answer what your question, because then everything about women can't take as much goes away, because he was 43.
Right, right. But
you know,
you know, yeah, but statistically, some of these people would have gotten themselves into an accident, or, you know, driven off the road, or fallen off a cliff, or I don't know what, right? So statistically, I mean, I'm just looking at how many lives you have actually saved statistically, because people if they stop doing alcoholism or drink, or if they stop doing drugs, they lead a less risky life and less chance of actually dying for some odd, strange reason, right? So I just wondered about that. Those are my two immediate questions.
Yes.
I've got a comment I'd like to share after I saw your videos. The sentence that was in, sometimes people say, oh, don't say that. You know what Julie's been through? Don't say that. But with you, it's like you have been through it. Like, some people get stuck in the middle, and then obviously they can't take the jokes, they can't talk about it, they can't lift it up to a normal conversation. But if people really get through to the other side, they can reflect about what's happened. So after I watched your short videos, I was like, wow, she's really come through this.
Yes. Yes, yeah. I think it's fun to be an alcoholic, because you just imagine all the things that you have to go through to get sober. You have to go through it. You have to know everything that happens in your brain and why it happens, why you started. You know, people say, yeah, I drink because of a divorce. I drink because my mother is dead. I drink because I was raped when I was 15 or bullied in school. That's not why. That's what we assume. So you have to go deeper and deeper and deeper back to see that, oh, I'm actually drinking because my mother once, when I was 2 years old, said goodnight a bit fast.
You know, this, yeah. Now this speaks to me in abundance, because I also know when I sit down and coach people, if there is some shit happening in their life, or, you know, whatever, and I ask, so why is that happening? And the first reason they come up with is almost never the case.
No.
Because it's superficial. So basically, when somebody says, "Oh, it's because I was bullied when I was in school," I then instinctively know, okay, so then we know what it's not the case. You know, that is that is in the bin of not the reason. You know, because there is always something, and the reason for this is because if it was conscious, if that was the reason, they would have handled it.
Yeah. And if it was that easy, I could go on. I could just call the Norwegian broadcasting company and say, hey, can you give me 5 minutes on the news?
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
then you would have 300 people, you know, in less than a season.
Yeah. No, but I mean, if it was that easy to get sober, very many people think they can't get sober because they don't manage. That's not true. They can't get sober because they're not they're not getting help where they should get help. And that is not necessarily with me, but with another alcoholic, you know. And the reason why they don't do that, I know you. It's because we know that if we meet somebody that knows us outside of it, we have to close the door, don't we? If we go to a psychologist or a doctor or somebody, we can just talk them through anything for many years and continue drinking. So that's why we're doing everything else, you know. We don't want to stop. Do you want to stop drinking? Does anybody?
Well,
it's Christmas.
Well, I basically don't drink.
Okay.
Not that I'm completely not drinking, but I don't drink.
No,
So
okay.
I would be, you know, not one of your coaches, to put it that way.
Well, but somebody here likes to have a drink, don't they?
Yeah, of course. And I have to,
I mean, Brendan is from Northern Ireland. Come on.
Yes, you're
Yeah,
right.
I haven't had a drink in over a year. Like seriously, it's you know, it's like, yeah, but I have these other addictions. You know, it's like okay, I get addicted to doing things like I have to do something every day. So at the moment I jump rope. That's like everybody around me knows. Like at the moment I jump rope every day. This is day 236. I count the days. I was like every day I got to do 1 hour of jumping rope. So it's like this crazy addiction. So that's, my life is just filled with all the just silly, crazy addictions. That's what gives me the kick.
Yeah.
I know. I think I know where you're coming from, Julia, because I think there's a lot of families that they can't like do the Christmas table without beer and red wine and akkevitt because it's like a part of Christmas or something. And if we take that away, it's not the same.
But that's also something. I've been thinking about this because very many people talks about it's alcohol on Facebook, it's alcohol there and we can't get rid of it and it's everywhere. Well, it has been for 2,000 years and more.
Yeah.
So why are we talking about it?
But when,
you know, so I mean, it will be there. It will always be there in some form or other.
But yeah, and I heard you talk in one video, like you said, like the one who's dangerous is me because it didn't show. So how do like me, who's not an alcoholic or doesn't see many alcoholics drinking too much or something, when do I recognize how to see an alcoholic? Or maybe somebody who's like, I have to ask him, are you drinking too much? Or should I, when do I like see it? Or what kind of excuses are coming? Or what?
The same as you have. That's what I was getting at when I asked them if they like to have a drink without being addicted. You know, why do you drink if you go there?
Yeah, just to enjoy myself or have fun.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Me too. Yeah. And sometimes you can drink just because you're mad at somebody. Maybe your boyfriend said something wrong, girlfriend, whatever. I'm going on town. I'm going to my friend and we're going to sit and have some drinks. It's Friday. Or you're going on vacation.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, of course it sounds familiar.
Yes.
Yeah. But
exactly. Same reasons. The thing is, it's not mystical at all. The difference is we're addicted.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. Everybody wants to mystify this so much that heroinists has to go on loads of other drugs to get to life, which ruins them instead of doing the work. I mean, Russell Brand does the work. He's a smackhead.
I read his book addiction book last year. One of the things that was really in it, he's like really strict on this, that you have to accept that you don't own the addiction owns you. And that's like, you have to accept that. And if you accept that it owns you right now at the start, then there's hope for you. And that was a crazy cool book. That was so cool. It's one of the best books I've ever read, I think, easily.
And it's true. That's why I'm saying I love being an alcoholic, because then I don't have to drink. I mean, there's so many examples. Ozzy Osbourne, he does the work. He doesn't do methadone. Is that the English word for methadone?
Yeah, maybe.
Or, Eminem, all of them. The people that and the people that gets other medicines. That's the mystifying part of addiction. That who makes that up? The healthcare business.
Well, we see at the moment in Norway, there's like a famous sports star at the moment it's so understandable that he was addicted to like this adrenaline kick and winning. And then suddenly it's just taken away, and is expected to like, okay, so find something in your life that you can have the same thrill of 100,000 people cheering you on, millions watching you, they're screaming your name. And he's like, yeah, so maybe I'll just go for a jog in the forest. And it must almost be impossible to get the same kick. It's like, it's a really difficult situation for lots of ex-sports people.
One of the things you can actually do with ex-sports people, with having all that adrenaline kick of winning the Olympics or whatever, is to get them to do skydiving, like straight after they get out of the track, let them jump out of airplanes, because that is at least something that can make them go.
Let them fly the airplane.
Or with or without the parachute.
But what about simplifying it? So yeah, you're right. That's for sports people that needs the adrenaline kick. What about if we just say that Northug is addicted to drugs?
Yeah,
that's why he's using
like
drugs.
Cocaine, cocaine, right?
I mean, that's his preferred drug. I mean, mine is alcohol. There's no difference, like some people love chips, other people love chocolate. It's that's the only difference between alcohol and cocaine. But he's addicted to I'm losing my English. Just addictive. To drugs or alcohol. While other people can be addicted to other kinds of adrenaline kicks. Like you can have sport stars that doesn't have drug addiction, then they won't be doing drugs. I mean, but
but I have a question here. Is there a bigger chance of a sports star actually being an alcoholic or some kind of addiction, because they are maybe at least some of them are addicted to the adrenaline kick, addicted to the winning, addicted to the the cheering of the crowd? And
I don't believe so. I believe you're addicted to to drugs or alcohol because you're addicted to that kind of thing. If you're I'm not getting the word rusmiddel in English.
What did you say?
Rus.
Rosmiddel.
The high, or the
everybody got lost.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Could somebody translate the ruse like real quickly into English?
Then it would be much easier to explain what I'm saying. So,
substance or
intoxication.
Intoxication.
Toxic substances. If you're addicted to toxic substances, that's what you're going for, and you're born with that. If you're addicted to another kind of adrenaline kick, that's what you're going to go for. So I think we're in the mystic world again, maybe if you do that, maybe if it's like that, 7 generations, that's your inheritance of substance addiction.
That's also the same with Russell Brand, that you have to just accept that this is something that owns you. And maybe the sports world just dampened it, and it was like a way of not letting the personality come through, because he couldn't drink whenever he was or whenever any top sports star is doing what they're doing. But this idea of it really owns me. It's got me. That's like step number one.
And it's inherited for most people. There's some few people that get addicted because of PTSD or something. But it's like saying, some people say, I don't drink because my father drank. Right? You've heard that before.
Yeah.
There's as many people say, I drink because my father drank. That's not a reason. Has it struck you, the heritage, or not? That's it.
Yeah, and now that is similar, because I've coached thousands of women also, that when I talk about mood swings, right? And people go, oh, my mood is up and down all the time. And then I ask, what's the reason? Well, it's my period. I know that's not the reason for basically no woman, and the reason for that is because I ask one simple question, is that, have you ever been happy when you had the period? And they go, yeah, sure. Have you ever been depressed when you don't have the period? Yeah. Okay, then we know that's not the reason. That's easy. That's very easy. So all these reasons people cock up for, it's superficial reasons, and it's a way for people to sort of deal with it in a way, but it's not the reason. And I had another story, a girl that I talked to who said, my problem in life is that I sleep with all the men I meet. I don't know if that was an invite or whatever, but I said, so why? What's happening? Well, I go to my psychologist, and he told me the reason for that is because I had a traumatic experience in my first sexual encounter. And I said, okay, so then when you told him about that and you handled that, and now you're not sleeping with all the men you meet anymore. No, I'm still sleeping with all the men I meet. So like, okay, so the psychologist didn't find the reason. You find something that you were comfortable about that could look like the reason while you're still having your addiction to sex, right?
Yes, it's very similar. There's loads of people comes to me before they get sober, and I don't know how many years they've been spending on their psychologist. I mean, they're good at things as well. I'm not against psychologists, but they don't make people sober.
No, because that is the end product. That is what you're actually looking to get. You don't just want to have them comfortable about beating their dog and the family and everything while they're still drunk. No, you want to get them sober.
Yes, and you want to get them sober so that they have a good life without it.
Exactly.
You have to get them not to stop drinking or stop taking drugs. You have to get them through.
On the positive side. It's not about not doing the negative. It's about seeking the positive.
Yeah. And you get the positive by working on reasons. And in drugs and alcohol, by working on consequences, of course, because then you get down to the nitty gritty to see.
Yeah.
Do you do any work with like the sports federation, the football association in Norway? Because these are a group of people that obviously, if the addiction is there, like you're saying, that means that whenever the top sports, whenever they stop, then it's going to click in. So do you do any proactive work with that type of group?
No, I decided when I started, because there's so much hearsay and this and that, and this is addiction and that is addiction. And I think there's almost nobody who just says it straight out. So I don't want to work with people. That's it. I don't want to work with people that has any kind of health, to get supported by somebody. Then they have to come in and decide. I'm not saying that I'm not God in getting people sober, but I need to do the work with the person, and then I don't need another meaning coming in and saying, yeah, but if we do, no. We're doing the work and we're going in details. If I ask anybody, do you take one day at a time? The answer will be yes. So then I ask, okay, how do you do that? How do you take one day? You see, your brain can't take one day at a time. So how on earth are you taking? Not even Dalai Lama takes, and you need to do it. So how are you going to do that? No, I don't. Yeah, that's just a sentence. So I don't need all the sentences coming into Tilbake til livet and from other people, because I started it because I'm tired of them. And then if somebody comes along with me and goes into the details, obviously they can come in and work with me and coach with me and all of that, but I'm not gonna have an Mr.
This is similar to the work that Brenda and I do, because we do mental training with top athletes. What we do is, we work sometimes with other mental trainers, etc. But there is a lot of sentences just being thrown around. Like when you talk to mental trainers, they say, yeah, you have to have the right attitude.
What attitude?
Yeah, exactly. What the heck do you mean with an attitude? What is the right attitude? You have to have focus. Well, what the fuck does that mean? And all these kind of things that people just rubber stamp type of shablon, right? But what you need to do is to get them there and really drill. When it comes to mental training, you have to really drill them. You have to sit them down and make them be there mentally, completely present. And there is drills for doing that. And you have to do the work. It's not about talking to the person and say, yeah, just get the right attitude, man, or just have the focus. No, it's actually drilling. You have to do the work.
Yeah.
So it's similar in a way.
Yeah, it's very similar. It's very similar. It's going really into the details. I mean, I have people that doesn't know how to take one day at a time after having worked with it for 3 months. Come on,
yeah. Yeah.
It takes time and it needs real work.
Do you then split it down to half a day? Do you help them to break up the day to, okay, but let's try to get from breakfast to lunch, and then we can have a talk at lunch, and then we take from lunch. Do you go like is it just one day, or do you get okay, we have to get down to 1 hour in this case?
Yeah, sometimes it depends, but most of the time it's, hey, how scared are you of being bored? Yeah. How scared are you of being restless? I mean, are you going to die today? Because the first 7 days, that's alcohol, is going to be hell. It's going to be hell, baby.
So is coffee. So is getting off coffee. Getting off coffee is crazy.
You're going
or sugar. Sugar and coffee at the same time.
Coffee,
That's
sugar,
pretty.
sex. Oh, it's crazy.
Yes, Netflix. I'm going to be sober. I'm going to pay all my bills. I'm going to get my six-pack. No. You've been intoxicated for 30 years. Relax, So be scared.
You're an actress. If you got a part now, I guess that because you've come through it, that you could obviously, you'd say, yeah, I can play the part of an alcoholic, no problem. So that would be like, yeah, I can do that. But are you a better person to be an alcoholic on stage than somebody who hasn't been through it? Do you see that as a strength?
One thing an actor can't do is play themselves. or I can play myself for 7 years ago.
Yeah. Or you can play another alcoholic.
Yes.
Maybe better than somebody who is not an alcoholic.
Yeah. Probably. But myself, no chance.
Julie, can I just, because there's a lot of people who's going to watch this and listen, because I think many people think in their head that we are talking about like alcoholics, like they're coming to us or calling you like they are snoveling in their phone and they don't walk straight and they smell and like what kind of people are calling you? Like
most people, let's say in Norway there's 1.5 million alcoholics.
Out of 5 million, just by the way, because we have Americans on the line
yes,
who have had world geography.
Out of 5 million. Yeah. So then you have a couple of thousand on the street, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the minority. And this is important.
Yeah.
Drug addicts and alcoholics looks like us, and they work, and they go up at 7 o'clock in the morning. They go to work and they're never late. They have children. They're nice to the children. They play. They do everything. That's a drug addict. That's an alcoholic. So that's why in Norway prescription is 500,000 people that has an addiction. So then you have some persons on the street, they're the lucky ones because they know. We are, so the rest of us, we're not addicted because we go to work. We're not late. We're not nothing. So 500,000, a couple of thousand. Okay, let's do 1 million. Because in the 500,000, the jails are not included. The clinics are not included. It's only prescription drugs. So you can just see that.
Wow. That's a lot.
That's a lot, and that covers volume or whatever it is, right?
And most people are not registered anywhere. I mean, because they're like us.
So I
guess maybe they're thinking they don't have to register because they just take a drink and it'll fix itself.
No, they're not registered because they're not alcoholics. They just drink a bit. They don't get late to work. That's what we do for 30 years.
But
I have shit face.
I still have 2 more questions because how do I asked it also before, maybe you answered it, but how do I recognize if maybe my neighbor, not you, Brandon, but maybe my neighbor is you're one of those regular people who are drinking too much?
Well, what Cathrine is actually asking about, how can she recognize if Brendan is an alcoholic?
He's going to go with strange makeup on his Zoom.
Are you asking, Cathrine? Are you asking, how can I help? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, and of course I have to recognize some kind of signs, because I can't walk the streets and ask everybody, do you drink too much? Or
no, but I just have to understand why you're asking. Are you asking how to help?
Yes, of course, for helping in the end, or yeah, for helping.
Okay, then I can work. That I can work with. Stop it. Stop it.
What do you mean?
There's no help. You can't help anybody, and that's to people that's looking at this. This is a very most important thing to I mean, nobody is ever going to stop me drinking. Nobody stops you from doing what you want to, Nobody, I mean, you just have to look into the pubs, not on the streets, because that's one part of us, but that it's never happened on this earth that one person has managed to help another person get sober if that person doesn't want to get sober. And if I'm an active alcoholic, and let's say I punched you last night, I will say, I'm sorry, Cathrine. I don't know what happened. I've been working for three weeks. I'm so tired. It's never going to happen again. I don't know who I am. And you say, Julie, you have to stop now because I've seen this before. Yes, I know. And then the anxiety comes and it's enough and it's horrible. You know how many times in a lifetime I will have that feeling before I stop drinking? Some thousands. I'm going to continue doing this. If I'm 20, I'm going to continue for 20 more years. And only 10% of us gets enough. This is so important. So when you're sitting at home hoping that you can help people, get real, because you're going to get crazy. You're not going to help anybody. They're going to continue to drink or take drugs as long as they want to. So it's not allowed to have hope.
So that's my next question, though, because like there's great points getting through here, and there will be a lot of people watching. So my next question is like, because I have heard that there's a lot of like you said, like regular people coming home drinking, maybe going to the garage just to fix something and have the bottle in one kind of like case or something just to have a drink. There's a lot of like maybe women turning their backs and like won't recognize their husband or wife drinking. What is your best tips for them to do?
Okay, now we're going to save the world for the first time in a million of years. This is not going to change. You have to do what I just said. There is no miracles happening. Addiction is not going away, and nobody's going to be able to stop a person. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to accept that, and they're going to start working with themselves. You know, going to Al-Anon or something. You know, a co-addict has, and this is very hard for co-addicts. First of all, it's very hard for co-addicts to accept that they are co-addicts because they're in as much denial as the person in, you know. So when they've accepted that, they're going to have to get help for themselves. And they're not doing that because it's not their fault. Well, it's not your fault, but you're there. It's your problem now. Your feelings are your problem, and they're not going to go away. And you're going to end up, I'm sorry, I'm going to die from drinking while you're going to end up in an asylum. That's it. If you don't do the work with yourself. So you're not going to do anything with a person in the garage. You're not going to do anything with a person that's drinking. You can throw them out, but that's not how we live our lives. That's not relations. So I'm sorry to say, and this is harsh, drug addicts and alcoholics are much better at working with themselves than co-addicts. get real.
That was so cool. That was really nice. That it's like gets back to this. So you gotta own your shit. There's like nobody else can own it.
No.
Yeah, and you know it's similar to when I work with kids that are getting bullied or living a abusive family. You're not going to change your father. You're not going to change your mother, or you're not going to change all the bullying kids in the school. What you can change is how you handle it with yourself. And that is what you have to take responsibility for. And people handle that very differently when they get to the point of saying, oh, it's my problem. Holy fuck, and then they deal with that differently. But that's down to personality, but they have to own it.
Yes, you have to own it. You have to get down to the serenity prayer, even though whatever you believe in, and see what's in it. Not, you can't change other people. You can't change your bills. You have to pay them. Why? Why do you have to pay them? Because you didn't pay the merge you got. So you owe it. You have to change. I can't change my husband if we're fighting. I really can't. I mean, I can win the discussion. That I can do. But do I change him? Or does he just say, I'm sorry, just to get rid of it?
Yeah.
So I can only do something about myself. That's it. And it's always been like that. We don't even know who wrote this shit. It's so old.
I've also helped a lot of people in marriage situation. And what I usually do is I hear them out in the first sort of talk we have. And the person who is most critical in the marriage is the one I'm focusing on. The person who is more blaming the other person, that's the person I start with. Because that person puts the responsibility on the partner rather than on himself or herself. So that is the person who owns it the least. So that is where I start.
I got to tell you a nice story. There was a guy that asked me if he could help some tips with his girlfriend. And I said, yeah, sure. We can meet on Sunday at, I think it was at 10 o'clock, and we go for a walk. So they come to my house and they come with a dog. And I said, okay, so we go for an hour and a half walk. And they have no idea what's going to happen. So I said, well, I have no idea how I'm going to help you guys. So I just take the dog. I'll stay 10 meters behind you. And I'm going to listen to a book that I've got on my telephone. You guys, 45 minutes, you talk to her. You just shut up. And then after 45 minutes, then you talk to him. And then you just shut up. And then we'll see you after 1.5 hours. I have no idea what to do. And they had such a great time. Me too. I got to walk the dog. It's like, I don't know, just like let people figure this shit out. I don't know.
I only have one last question, and I only to like. If
this is more about your neighbor, you gotta stop.
Look at you. I mean, no joke. I haven't drove you home from the city once. I know. Yeah, but when do you like find the line between like having fun and when you're starting to have a problem? Is there like any I know you can't like see 3 glasses a day or something. When should people like feel like they have to I know alcoholics or maybe don't recognize it, but like when is the line between how much?
I really don't want to go there, because that's a very common question, and that's also a question you have to fill out in a doctor's office. Yeah. And it's not a stupid question. It's very good that you ask it, because that line, nobody is searching for that line.
Yeah, but I think maybe some like me do. Like if I see.
Yeah, but you're not. That's because you're not an addict.
Yeah, of course. That's why I want to point it out, because I think, or many think, that when you have 3 glasses every day, then you're an alcoholic. But you don't. You're talking about you can't see it that way.
Well, the difference.
Now, if you have 3 glasses a day, you're an Italian.
Yes. Yeah, but the difference is that you're not an addict, so you're conscious about your health when it comes to alcohol. I smoke. I'm 50. Do you see the difference? So I'm going to die from this. I still smoke. You know, I'm an addict, so I'm not going to bother about my health when it comes to drinks. I'm just going to bother about having fun, having a good time. I'm going to push it aside. Even when I wake up with anxiety the day after, I'm just going to push everything aside. And then I'm going to go through the day so that I get the children to school, my work done, and put them to bed again so I can have a drink, because then everything's all right, man. You know, we don't think, I mean, there's no point in going in that direction. When can I see my own danger? We don't. We're not interested. I knew that I was an alcoholic when I was 21. I didn't think I'm an alcoholic, but I knew I was partying in, you know, but I had no intention of stopping. I had fun. Did I have fun later on that night? No, because I slept with somebody I didn't know. And then I woke up somewhere I didn't know. And then I'd continue the day after. You know, it's another drive. No questions asked. So it's much more important to see the picture, and there's a lot of acceptance that has to be done from people that are not addicted to, because you're not going to understand this. It's never going to happen. You know, you have the co-addict here, you have the addict here, and between, nothing is happening. You know, so, and it's been like that since the Neanderthal Eric walked the earth. So that's why I'm not answering you directly, because it doesn't exist, really. And you can touch into it. I mean, you don't have to be an addict to touch into it, I think. I mean, many people have had that in their life. Similarly, you know, been to a party, done something stupid, and for some reason there's a party the day after as well that they have to go to, and they go. So we just do it 100 times more. And yeah. So
it's the we're not talking about the number of glasses, which is sort of potentially
enough.
Enough. Yeah. But still, it's very individual, I suppose. How much is much, whatever. But is it like when it owns you, you're an addict?
No, when it hurts. No. When you're born an addict. Let's be there.
I understand that part. But when it becomes active. Yeah. It is because if you live in a place, let's say you're born an addict to alcoholism, right? But you live in a tribe in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and there is no alcohol until you die. There is no alcohol, meaning it will never go into activity. It will never be active, right? Because there is no alcohol. But and then some Portuguese guys come to the island and shovel around a lot of rum. And all of a sudden you discover, oh my God, this is cool. And then you drink and then you become an addict, right? Or an active addict.
Yeah.
Now then you discover that it owns you. But you didn't discover that before because you never had alcohol.
No, we don't discover that it owns us because we're not interested. I mean, I can talk about it owning me now because I'm sober and I've been working with it. But as an active addict, I'm not interested in whether it owns me or not. I'm having fun.
You know? Yeah, I understand from your viewpoint. Yeah. I do get that.
And you're a coach, so you know this, that the only thing that happens when you take your first drink is that the amygdala gets the solution. That's all that happens. And the solution is there. Going, I mean, so...
Okay, I have another question then, which is similar to this, because I'm trying to understand as fast as I can here. So if the alcohol becomes your solution, then if you were interested, or if you had this, being outside of yourself, then you can see yourself being, oh shit, I'm an addict.
I'm not interested.
No, I understand you're not interested, but if you were interested, I mean, if you magically started to be interested in a different universe, then you would say, oh, that me is actually an addict because alcohol becomes the solution.
Yeah.
I'm trying to just find a definition of where the line goes, because I'm trying to help Cathrine, basically, to understand the line.
Yeah, I'm trying not to, because the solution is not there. Only
That's a great answer.
Only acceptance is there. You're never going to get the solution, because then it would be solved very many years ago.
I'm not looking at the solution. I'm just trying to understand where the line, or what the definition.
That's what
the definition is.
That's what.
I fully accept it. I completely accept it. That is fine. That is fine. I'm just trying to help Cathrine understand what is the difference between a person who is not an addict and the person who is an addict, seen from an objective standpoint.
Yeah.
But I think
because it's not a matter of number of glasses per day, obviously, but there is another definition somewhere. I mean, if you would scientifically look at what is the definition of an addict, there would be some definition.
Yes, and we're not interested. I'm doing this on purpose. Okay. So the definition you will get in the doctor's office, the professors, the psychologists, all the people that can't make us sober, they have that definition. You know.
I also think there's some cool points here, because I think there's a lot of people like me or you guys who is trying to understand as good as they can, and when they are talking to an addict or alcohol, they don't care. They're not interested in what you have to say. So how much I'm trying to grab or go into your head, you're not interested for me to be there. And I think there's a great point for many people who are watching, maybe some family member sitting by the table, and you think, shit, you're drinking too much, and I want to ask you, how do you stop? Then shut up, Cathrine, because you can't help them. Almost.
Yeah, you have to accept. That's what I'm trying to get at also for an addict. That I mean, all of this has to do with acceptance. It's a very big word in addiction, you know. So I mean, we don't know why we're addicts, so we have to accept it. You know, that's the first step.
But I feel we can't leave this meeting not giving anybody some hope about some small help.
No, because you know, I can be even more harsh. If we give people hope when they're co-addicts, they're going to continue ruining themselves more and more. Just think. I've been hitting you once now. I've apologized. I'm going to stop. Then I stop because we stop. Remember, addicts don't drink every day. We're functioning. We work. I didn't drink when I was pregnant. I didn't drink when I had an exam. I'm an actress, so I didn't drink 3 weeks before my first night.
Of course.
Except, obviously, the night before, because we always drink at the wrong time in the wrong place. So you're gonna get hope, because I'm now being sober. I promised you, and it's going a while, and then.
Okay, I have a line here that might be the end of this discussion, because yes, I understand addict, I understand co-addict, but there is another party involved here who definitely needs the help, and we need to give them some kind of tip or how to handle the situation, and that is the kids. because they are not going into the relationship. They are born into it. They didn't have a choice. They're just stuck in the fucking middle. And the father is, beating the mother, and the mother is maybe going active as an alcoholic also. And the father has been an active alcoholic for maybe 20 years or whatever, I've seen many of those situations. So what would you give as tip to the kids or adults seeing this thing happen? Should they just take the alcohol out of the house and say, that's fucking it, we're going to protect the kids? Or what do we do with the kids? How do we handle this situation?
I've been working out, I've had 400 lectures in schools and when we come, we always end up with that question. And I'm going to be honest, I don't have an answer. It's really horrible, because if I had that answer, I don't know what, as you say, it's just horrible that they have to live with it. I mean, and not only violence, because that's not the most common thing. The most common thing are just drunk parents that's never there with their mind. The most dangerous common drunk is the one that's not doing too many wrong things. They just ruin people by being.
Right, but
and what to do about it, I really wish I had the answer to that.
I do have one answer at least, and because you would get more of the people who are addicts that I don't see. What I see is when it gets so far as it becomes violent. That's when I get the kids. I get 16-year-olds who are looking to kill themselves because they're getting beaten or incest or whatever, right? So I get some of the really totally fucked up cases. Now, what I gave as a tips to those kids, if they're 16 years old, could be the following. There are many different tips, but one of them is, now figure out what makes you happy, not your father, not your mother, whatever. Figure out what make you happy. Write down a list of 5 things that make you happy. And sometimes that's quite odd stuff. It could be, listening to death metal, or it could be playing some drum, or it could be anything, And then when it gets really bad, you're not going to fix it, but you need to do the stuff on that list that makes you happy. Yeah. So if that is walking the dog, then get the fuck out of the house, let them quarrel, doesn't matter. Take the dog out for a walk and stay out for 3 fucking hours if you need to, just to be happy, because you are the master of your own happiness. It is not depending upon your father not beating your mother, or your father not beating you, or the father not drinking. It's not depending upon that. You need to be the master of your own happiness. That would be my tips to it.
That is the best advice I've ever heard, because we go to the other, as I also do, they can't move, what to do, but that's the best advice. That's the advice I give grown addicts, now co-addicts,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I was thinking that
take care of your own happiness, because that is something that is precious to you, and it's unique to you. Whatever makes you happy is very different from another person's happiness.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So the time is flying, Julie. Geir, like you got to know us now a little bit. He made a group on Facebook, like Help Without Total Reward. I don't know if you have seen it, but that's why we're doing this, because there's many people like doing things just for the reward of it. So we have a lot of cool stuff here now we can share with others, like for free help, they can listen in and everything. So it was really cool to have you here.
Great.
It's actually quite eye-opening. I would advise people to go through this twice and really listen.
I'm sorry there's no solution, but that's also my game.
No, but that is fine. That is fine, because you don't need to search for a solution that doesn't exist also. So because that will just mess with your life. So okay.
But this is great, Julie. Thanks for taking the time. Really cool listening to. There was a part in the middle we were talking there, and I was like, wow, this is so cool just listening to it. I think we should actually cut that, edit that section out. There was like a 1 minute where Julie was just talking, and it was like, wow, that's just like the core of everything. It was just, I think it was so beautiful.
Yeah, you know what we should do? We should take some parts of each webinar actually, and make sort of a less than a minute type of core. What is the core of this? Because people can't always listen to an hour. So, yeah, cool. Okay, and screenshot. Are we there now?
Shot. Okay.
Thank you.
Have a Merry Christmas.
We need to have the screenshot. You see, we need to have the screenshot.
Yeah.
Oh, yay.
Trying to balance the earth here.
So I hope we will keep in touch, Julia. It's like we said, it was really fun listening in.
It was really great being here. It's the best thing I've done in ages. Very nice.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
We like to make people's days, so that's perfectly fine.
Great.
Yeah.
Have a really nice Christmas.
Okay.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.